Yeah, guys. Once again, I have my people here, Oscar and Say Cheese, reacting to another awesome video. This one I think is actually going to be hilarious. You guys should like, subscribe, share the video, leave comments. Let's just know what's going on. How you guys doing? What you guys saying?
Good.
We chilled.
Say what?
Somebody's here, but the rain is,
Rain is falling.
I don't understand.
Like,
It's summer, man.
But the funny thing is, like, I don't think, have you guys experienced like a really, really bad rainstorm, like here since you guys been to Canada?
I think the only one I experienced that time we were going to.
Yeah, so like myself and CGs went to Toronto on Tuesday. It was it rained heavy.
Like Lagos.
I've never
car.
actually no.
No, because like back then, like
No, but
when
it was
we were
heavy.
driving, it was heavy. My mom would just park the car.
No, but this one was heavy
Was
to the
dropping.
point where I was like,
You could not see.
what the hell is this? Yeah.
Yeah, it was dropping heavy.
How about you?
Not as heavy as Nigeria though.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember like back then when it's really, really bad, that then poles are falling and trees, but like it's
No,
like
those
like-
ones is poor implementation and poor construction. Those poles
That has
are
nothing to do with the rain.
those poles are not just falling random. They're not just falling randomly. You understand?
Right.
Yeah, man. Let's get right into this video.
Yes,
It's
sir.
sounds like a good one. This one I'm saying line. It wants to look like that
Squid Game.
Squid Game.
I have used microaggressions against my own race.
I hated being Asian growing up. I despised it. And I just remember making the crudest, most horrible jokes because in some way I felt like this was expected of me to make everyone feel comfortable about my adoption.
Interesting.
What is the experience like for transracial adoptees in America? We partnered with Lionsgate on their upcoming film Joyride to hear the stories of real-life adoptees and how their experiences shaped their lives.
Adopted kids are more screwed up than biological kids. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh
I'm really curious about you two first.
Interesting.
shit.
It depends on what age you adopt a child. I feel sometimes.
Valid point.
Yeah, very valid.
Valid point. But still, man, like who
And also
adopts a
and
20-year-old?
It's not adoption, I don't think. No, it's like Lydian.
That one don't
It's more like
pass.
Lydian legal guidance or something.
That one,
That one don't pass.
legal kidnapping.
No.
I just
I swear, bro. 20. That's.
I think,
20-year-old.
I think there's a different term for that one. Maybe it's still adoption, but like I feel like it's different because at 20 you're registered adult.
of course.
Yeah, so it's more like okay, legal guardian or maybe something like that. But
That
like
one is like a legal guide.
yeah, I feel like I don't really know much about adoption because I haven't experienced it much.
But
I
do
feel
you guys
like
think
major
adopted kids
factor
are
is-
more screwed up than
so that's a
biological?
two-factor: the age at which you're adopted,
Yeah.
and the family that is adopting.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
Yeah,
take
what
it
kind
out.
of love do they show you?
You can't.
How
take
do they
it.
treat
If
you?
they treated you like you're an adopted child,
Yeah.
that's a problem in the first place. They treated you like you're as their own.
Because obviously
like,
these
they're
people
knowing-
staying here now, they were treated.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
it feels
They
like.
didn't feel like they were left out.
no, but see, yeah, honestly, of course, like this is just in movies. I've actually not seen this in real life. I've actually seen some adopted kids that maybe like the parents are actually good to them. Like that's like the adoptees now are good to them, and they're just assholes, man.
Well, I mean, it still boils down to
But
the
you said
individual.
movies. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it because in movies they actually have that narrative.
Of course, yeah,
They
they're
actually
trying to
have
bring that narrative.
but like,
But I think
is
it's
it
still
true?
even.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's
I
just
really
some
don't
sort
know.
of
I
translation.
can't speak to it. Maybe there might be some cases, right? But then if you, yeah, it actually depends. Right?
No, but it could
Because
happen,
I think
though.
when,
We
I'm
cannot
not sure, but I
negate
think
that.
here when you adopt a child, like the government like pays you like some certain for. I think so. I'm not sure. I think,
And to adopt now.
Oh, yeah, no.
that's like based on like you're registered adoptee. Obviously, you should have the financial capacity.
I can
to take care of
raise
them,
a kid.
but at the same time, like they support you. Like, I think in movies, allegedly,
government-
in movies as well. Like so, I really don't know if it's like a real thing.
No, but like I honestly do think that adopted kids. I actually do agree. I agree that they're actually screwed up.
Depending.
Depends, man. I feel like those two factors matter because
Yeah.
the older you are, the more your mindset is already transformed. Or
Yeah,
formed.
exactly.
And you might have been, again, their
Been
kids
through
have
a
been to
lot,
so many adopted
yeah.
homes. Do you get, so they feel like, okay, yeah, she rejects me, this person rejects me, like in a year or two, right? So it depends. Yeah, that's when like 1 or 2, then, you know, they
Yeah,
bring
but
you
let's not
up
forget
and
that
raise
some
you up.
parents still are cruel, man. Like some human beings are actually wicked. Like that's the term to use, wicked.
Yeah.
That yo,
True.
Yeah. I know so many biological kids that are screwed up. And they were raised in like a healthy, nuclear, cliche, white picket fence family. And I know several adopted kids that are so successful, that are doing great. I mean, shout out Simone Biles. She went to the Olympics and she was adopted.
this girl.
Can I move? Like, she changed my mind. Like,
Come on.
Can I?
yeah. I'm like, she has a point
But
there.
it's meant to be based on your experience.
No, I can strongly disagree with that.
No, because like the thing is, she changed my mind on that because like as a foster kid and like somebody who went through all that, we are f***ed up. You know, like we go through so much like through that whole process, seeing and feeling neglected from like the foster parents. But I don't let my past, where I grew up, like define who I am to make me screwed up.
Yeah, so I'm on strongly agree because I've been through a few therapeutic boarding schools, wilderness programs. One of them, I remember, it's a place where wealthy parents send their children, so it's privilege.
Fuck.
And even with all that privilege, everybody
Shut
there
up.
was messed up, like, and messed
Is that a
up.
tattoo?
Just
think so.
saying, like, they weren't stable, whether it was a drug addiction or just like bad temper or violence. Adoptees all carry this trauma. Maybe it has something to do with identity and not knowing a lot about our background. Well, some of us not knowing a lot about our background. I think like we don't even have a birthday. And me personally going through that and growing up in a colorblind environment, it's kind of like we were left to fend for ourselves. And I think any children that have to fend for themselves are gonna go through some messed up shit. But yeah.
So, thank you for sharing, by the way. I look at this question through 2 lenses. The adopted community as a whole is 4 times more at risk of suicide than non-adopted counterparts. I think that adopted kids are more at risk for struggle, not because of us, but because of society and because of the dominant narrative of white saviorism that is all surrounding adoption. We all know that.
White saviorism refers to those who work from the assumption that they know the best for what BIPOC folks need. They believe it's their responsibility to support and uplift communities of color in their own country and somewhere else because of people of color lack resources, willpower, and intelligence to do it themselves. I don't know, man. Like, there's been bare amount of white people that go to Africa or to some countries in Africa and adopt folks. Sometimes these people do it out of the willingness of their heart because they just feel like. But sometimes, man, it creeps me out, man. I'm dead serious. When I just see like a white babe, don't get me wrong, go shit. Like her heart can be pure and all, but when I see like a white woman with like 4 black girls, I feel some type of way. I'm dead serious. I actually do feel some type of way in those situations because I'm like, is it that like why? Like I ask myself like why? You guys have not seen that.
Yeah, so again, I really don't have much experience with adoption, but I feel adopting a child, personally, I feel like you should do it for the right reason, right?
Yeah.
And if you do adopt a child, not a popular take, I feel like you should love the child more than you would love your own child.
More
you should
than?
try. You should try.
I don't understand.
Like
Jesus
my
Christ,
goal
no.
is like if
Nigga
you adopt
said
somebody,
more than.
you should make best case scenario, you should make the person not feel like it's adopted.
Yeah, that makes
You
that's
should
better
make
than
the child not feel like, there's a way you make it like, oh, if you do anyhow, or send it back from where it came from. Like, all this kind of trends. I mean, parents don't play this trick on you when they say, I think I adopted you. Like, now we thinking like, mom, did you adopt me? Are you trying to tell me I'm not your child?
Finish,
Do you hear me, right?
Sing that
So, but the thing is, like, I feel like at best, you have like the sole responsibility not to make the child feel adopted. Do you get?
Better.
Narrative. But the narrative for those that don't know is this notion of adoptees should feel lucky, adoptees must be grateful, and gratitude is related to this idea of repayment. The effect of that is that we as adoptees, as a whole community, feel like we're less worth than our non-adopted counterparts. It makes us feel like you should repay your life that you were given. You should repay the fortunes that were given to you. And for little kids, how can we repay something that's immeasurable? And it's not fair for us as little kids to have that weight, that burden on us while growing up. And because we have that weight, because we have that burden, that's what, so to speak, messes us up.
You're bringing back some stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
chose to be on this side.
I think I actually get that now. So at first I was thinking it was like they get that feeling of adoption at the end when they grow up. But no, they actually leave it through.
Yeah.
Then that's where the problem is, that you make them feel as an adopted child.
Yeah.
You make them feel like, oh, you owe me.
You're doing them a favor.
You're doing me a favor. You're that kind of stuff. Like, if it mess
No,
up anyhow,
but let's be honest, man. Even as Nigerians and Africans, Baba, my parents. Sure, your mom have ever told you. Do you know what it means that you're going to bed eating 3 meals in a day?
I swear. They go use that one torment you first, bro.
They
They've not told you that.
told my cousin.
Look at Hannah's house. Do they have lights there?
Yeah.
I don't know how, but the time I asked my cousin that
months.
adopted you, she cried. She was they made her believe that she was adopted. No. She was like, "Hey, that's why you don't love me." But like it's sad. But like you kind of have to make sure they don't feel that, because as a child, honestly, as a child, you just want to be loved. Because you feel like mommy and daddy is like the safest place. You can be. When your parents, like, you feel safe, you feel elated, like happy, you want to do anything. Mommy's here, daddy's here. I don't know about you, but like when we're in school, anytime we just hear like the doorbell, like it's a mom or dad, like we're jumping up. We're jumping. I don't understand, but we're just jumping, right? So it feels that kind of way, and if you take that out from a child when they're growing up, and they feel like, oh, I have to be careful, walking on eggshells. If not, I'll be rejected. Then I guess I understand where they're coming from and how heavy of a burden that is just growing up.
No, sick.
Because I felt if I was on that side, it'd be denying my experience as an adoptee, the fear of abandonment that feels inherent to being an adoptee. Because of that, I have definitely been in relationships I shouldn't have been in, toxic ones, and relationships for way too long. What comes with that then is like feeling like you have to prove that you're worthy of love constantly because of the inner voids and wounds of being abandoned as a baby, or just abandoned in general.
Yeah.
Those wounds cut deep.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Matea. I am adopted from China in the 90s during the one-child policy. So one thing I'm super grateful about with my parents is they really valued making sure that my brother and I experienced our heritage. Every summer, we would go to this camp that specifically focused on our Chinese heritage and taught us different aspects of it. So like language, calligraphy, dance, martial arts. And so that was a really special and I think important experience to have as a transracial adoptee.
Hi, my name is Eli. I'm 23 years old and I was adopted from South Korea at 9 months old. I have 4 adopted siblings, also from Korea, and I grew up in Denver, Colorado, so not a lot of diversity there. And I'm actually about to go look for my birth parents this fall.
Transracial adoption should not be allowed. 3, 2, 1, go.
What do you guys think? Do you think white people should be adopting black kids? Or I've actually almost never seen. Don't get me wrong. I know it could exist. No, a black
adopting a white person.
I've actually never seen. I know it could exist, and I know it does exist, but the ratio I've actually never seen like that.
Yeah. Didi. I think he adopted a white kid.
Didi.
Yeah.
Your guy.
So
Didi's your guy.
I think he adopted a white kid. I think I saw it recently.
If Didi's adopting a white kid, Didi's adopted white child. My name is Eva. I'm Scorpio. The teen began before Combs interrupted her and told her to say her last name, Eva Combs. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he did. Okay.
But I mean, the ratio is.
Yeah, ratio is.
No, but do you guys
it's
think?
pretty
Do you guys think white? Like, I don't know. Like, do you think like people that are not of the same background should adopt kids that are not, in the same background with them?
Bro, that's a good question.
I swear.
Would you
adopt the white kid?
Very good question. I'm looking at it more of like a cultural thing. Like the culture is best because like think about it, like if those people originally give it to somebody like within their, but if you look at even if
No. Let's actually limit it now to like just infants. Because this guy now said, okay, like he was adopted like 9 months old.
Yeah, 9 months old.
So would you actually adopt like a white kid?
I don't know. If God says I should, I would.
But
I feel like it's more of like cultural. Like I feel like for example, I actually feel like it's a good thing about it this way. If these people were to have their kids, they will have the kids and train them in their culture, in their understanding. Okay. So if it's an Asian, Chinese, you get if it's mixed, it makes sense. But at least one culture or something. You get my point, right? Because except if I know the lady said that when she was younger, her parents tried to always take her back to like some kind of camp where they can learn a culture.
Her new parents,
her new parents had to take her back to like literally this is where you're from. It's something about heritage, right? It's a great
but do
thing.
you agree? Like,
so
should it be allowed?
So the thing is, the truth of the matter is like somebody who has the heart to adopt a child
should be allowed
and is willing to treat the child right.
So we should do heart scanner.
No, it's always hard to determine.
Exactly. No, I honestly don't think.
It's always hard to like I feel like there's a right, but
I don't think it should be allowed.
I would say
it just depends on the circumstances, right? Like that guy who was saying, like when they brought out that policy of just one child only, right? Like if no one is coming for the child.
No, I honestly don't think. See, this is why. Okay, so like for instance, if a white person adopts a black kid, because that's like the situation, like scenario we can look out for. The experiences that this black kid would go through, that you as a white parent,
well, definitely
did not understand. Right. You understand?
You as a parent, you start learning things about
on the
culture.
Go. You understand? Instead of like, there's so many things that my dad told me.
Yeah.
You know that I know that okay, because he has lived this life somewhat, then I could experience these things and then I know how to navigate it. If you've not lived that experience as that race, don't get me wrong, and then this like applies everywhere. It could be like even like maybe like Korean or like the Asians or like the Indians and stuff. It's just like maybe like an Indian person adopting like a black kid. That's like light and darkness. That's like light and day, because the cultures are like different on the extremes. You understand?
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think it should be allowed though.
I
Whoa.
think it makes sense.
Yeah.
We're all transracial adoptees. That would be saying that you would be against your own adoption.
That does not look Moroccan
also,
at all.
It's different from being colorblind. That's not why I'm here, just to clarify.
Okay, theoretically, let's say we were on agree for one reason. Do you guys have any gripes against transracial adoption?
Well, yeah, like I guess like what I just said a little bit.
Savior complex.
Savior complex.
I mean, there are people in the world who I think view transracial adoption as this like, oh, I'm doing a cool thing. Like, I've met people who have said those specific things where they're like, I've always just wanted a black child, but that's it. There's no like, why do you want a black child? Or, or like, it was like a savior mentality almost. And I do think that it's really important as the further we go to have that education and to not go in with it with a colorblind stance, because it does do a lot more harm, at least it did for me growing up, than, just opening up your kids to the culture that they came from.
Yeah, no, you really spoke to something. All my friends that are black or Arabic have all this culture that they grew up with, and they like years and years of like learning stuff, and that's what I missed out on. So for the future.
in as much as I strongly disagree, would you rather now be left alone?
So they all agreed, right?
No, they strongly disagree.
Oh, they strongly disagree.
Yeah.
No, this scale is confusing because I thought under
So transracial adoption should not be allowed. So like they agree, like they strongly agree with it.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah, so that makes it up.
So like, would you rather your parents just would you rather you like the person adopting you just leaves you, your adopter leaves you?
So you were saying you agree now. Are you saying you don't?
No,
like what's the point?
See, don't get me wrong. Like we have to be logical. In as much as I don't like it.
No, so mine is not about liking. I feel like the best possible outcome is for the parents to be of the same cultural lineage.
Yeah, because then
they'll
feel some type
and
of way.
understand that okay, you're black, you're this. This is how you should treat other people. This is where you're from. Blah blah blah. Learn your language, or if they want to teach them the exact language, right? So I think what all of them are saying is that they missed out on that cultural experience, and their parents are probably even learning about their own culture,
exactly,
and how to even teach them,
and
how to bring them. Like it's like experimenting, like learning about
future generations and people who are adopting right now. I think the biggest thing would be to stop being colorblind because we're not helping the kids.
Yeah, I agree that everybody deserves.
You know what I mean by colorblind?
Parents, family, everybody deserves to be loved and nurtured.
Like saying, "Oh, I don't see color."
Yeah,
like I just think that this case. No, as in like people say I'm colorblind.
Yeah, so you have to put the context. Like the context really justifies.
No. People say they're colorblind, that they don't see color.
Like they don't care.
That they only see Oscar. They don't see Oscar as white or black.
They don't care if you're black or white.
Yeah, but like on what context?
In every context. You ask them, "Oh, like what's your preference in dating?" They say, "Oh, like I don't care about color. I can date anybody."
So that dating is different. Like they're open to. That means it means inherently they're saying that they're open to different cultures.
Exactly. So like it's the same thing too that they're trying to point out that most of their parents, like most of their adopters, they're not specific with regards to color.
Yeah, but I feel like where they're also trying to shine the light more is like the culture wasn't the same. So they
exactly. Yeah. Like I'm just trying to paint the context of like what do you mean by colorblind.
And cared for. However, the recent legislation that almost didn't pass, I guess, for ICWA, which is the Indigenous Child Welfare Act, being Native American and not adopted by Native Americans, I don't know anything. You know, there's so much about my life that just didn't make sense until I went out and learned it myself. So I feel like that small community of Native children need to stay with other Natives. It doesn't have to be the same tribe, but just keep them Native because, you know, our population's declining.
I mean, I am standing here where I am, but I do think it is a little bit of a privileged place to be standing because I think the reality of adoption in the US and culture in the US is that it's very hard to be a person of color here in this country. You know, my parents were white. My parents being white will never understand what it's like to be a person of color in the US. And they're not going to be able to connect with me in that way, which is kind of a big deal. Now, there are other things that they do really, really well, but the reality is living here is kind of tough for a person of color, and they can recognize that for me, but they can't know what my experience is. Hey everyone, my name is Ben. I was adopted from China at 11 months by my dads Bill and Sam, and I grew up in New York City.
Hi, my name is Nora. So a little bit about my adoption story. I was found in a dug hole in a park by a police officer when I was about, I think it was a week or two old. So a little bit about my adopted parents. They're both white French Canadians. My parents were infertile. They couldn't have their own children. But my mother always had a strong need to be a mother and to have a family. So I think, yeah, it's always been important. So it was children, or it had to be.
Okay, let's mix it up. Can each of you tell me some of the crazy stuff that people have said to you as a transracial adoptee?
Okay, who are your parents? My parents are white, so they never know where they are in the crowd.
Do you know your real parents, though?
What country are you originally from?
Oh, yeah. Where are you from?
I just get made fun of being adopted, so I would say my parents chose me. Yours just stuck with what they got.
You're so lucky. Congrats. Oh, that was a big one. People would literally be like, congratulations. For what?
I have used microaggressions against my own race 3, 2, 1, go.
It's good to get around for me.
I think when I was younger, there was definitely some jokes that I made, which I deeply regret, but trust me, I'm picking up the slack now. But I think it also the fact that I was growing up countryside in like a predominantly white place made it so that like I accepted a lot of things, little comments or little jokes that I would just let slide, or people using the N-word. And I think when I started learning more about Black culture, that's when I was like, okay, that's really not okay, and this is why. But I think that also comes with maturity and age.
So I'm on strongly agree because I hated being Asian growing up. I despised it, man. My dad would give me a buzz cut, I had glasses, and so every time I went out, we just kind of would get looks because there's 5 adopted kids. And man, I just remember making the crudest, most horrible jokes because it, in a weird way, validated me as like an Asian almost, because in some way I felt like this is what was expected of me, to make these jokes, to make these comments, to make everyone laugh and feel comfortable about my adoption. And what I realized is, dang, like first off, I'm starting to believe this stuff. Second off, I'm doing it in service of others. Like I'm making these jokes to make other people feel comfortable.
I don't understand. With your story. As in, did they adopt the guy to come and be cracking jokes or what? That's literally what the guy just. That's literally what the guy just said.
No, I think is that he made jokes about his family, like his adopted.
Yeah, but have you ever wished you were any other thing? So you don't like the fact that you are Nigerian, you are Igbo.
Say that mosquito. And that heat.
You've never wished you were any other thing?
When I don't like at the point when I was like maybe very little.
Yeah, you wish you were what?
I don't know. I just wish
you're white.
No, like
Not true.
No, not like I wished I was white, but like, you know, when you're in Nigeria and you're just seeing some kind of things, you're just like, I wish I was not in this country.
Yeah, I think that was the main thing. I just wish I was not in Nigeria when I was younger. Because like you wanted to play. Just
no lights. Everywhere.
So your own problem is just that you just wanted to play. And
everywhere is
no
hot.
light.
Everywhere is just
It was annoying.
Well, I'll be honest though. Like growing up, like sometimes you just like, man, what kind of useless country is this, bro? Yeah, like. But as you grow up, as you get older, you begin to learn more about your heritage. And then you now start seeing that the economic development is not dependent on your background. Like it's not dependent on who you are. It's just a circumstance of, the inability of, your leaders and yourself to be disciplined, to be able to, But yeah, man, I think as a child I was also like, man, like God, bad road. Everything
those bad road holes, like and when it rains,
big holes,
out, things were. It was a lot. See, when I was a kid, I just drive out, I used to look outside the window a lot, and I said, one day when I grow up, I'll become the president, and I'm going to clear all this road, I'm going to fix all these things. Like I'm serious. Like, I said that like a lot.
So when are you going to the ballot?
When politics. No, we don't do like that. I don't like Nigerian politics.
That's your
I don't
call.
like politics.
That's your calling.
Nah, I just had that thing when I was a child. And
President Oscar.
Yeah.
As well, I grew up also like hating that I was Asian, but like specifically Chinese. I would hear like kind of a negative connotation about Chinese, that like they're liars and they're ugly, and also being around predominantly white community and like in high school, hanging out with a lot of group of girls that were often white, and I was the token Asian, like just made me more and more hate my appearance and not think that I was attractive. I guess with being insecure with that, it's almost like, that internalized racism and like self-hatred that happens. So that's why I am on this side as well.
Oh, can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
Like totally resonant with what both of you guys were saying. I was always proud to be Asian. I was proud of my differences. But I think it was always interesting reckoning with this idea of being proximal to whiteness. And what I mean by that is when white people growing up said, oh, like you're basically white, they were saying that to validate me as being like a first-class citizen because I'm like almost white because I was raised in a white family. And then when Asians would call me a banana, or when Asians would say, oh, well, you're not really Asian, that would hurt on a different level.
Yeah, I would get that too.
Do you think that Nigerians that were born and brought up in the States and in Britain, do you think they are Nigerians? They are as Nigerians as the Nigerians in Nigeria?
Obviously not. No.
Wait. Pause. Cities. It's depending on the family. Because there's some family, there's some parents that have made it their life goal and intention.
No, they never went back.
Sorry?
They never went back.
But they never went back.
Yes.
I really don't know. I really don't know. I've met one recently. I think she just went home.
Well, we're
last
seeing
year.
but
I just know like Nigerian homes, like they wanna create the atmosphere.
Not all of them though.
Not all of them. Like good amount
sure.
of them want to create the atmosphere to know that okay, this is your heritage, this is who you are, and they try and put it in.
But by not all of them, some see, listen, your heritage is your language. Some of them cannot speak their language. Even some people that grew up in Nigeria cannot speak their language. So what's not your language? No, what's not your heritage? Because you can tie Iran Buba and then you can wear this. No, now.
Yeah, I mean.
Right, but the thing is, I don't know. It, like I said, it's primarily based on parents.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that because I honestly do think that the experience of growing up in Nigeria is very, very different.
It will always be different.
Yeah, 100%.
It's very, very different.
It will always be different.
Because there's some jokes that if you grew up outside Nigeria, when someone that
relate,
you cannot relate.
You can never relate.
Like, and again, like there's a way like Nigerians who grew up in Nigeria behave. You understand that you could almost tell the difference between someone that grew up outside. Like
that one is sure.
So in as much as this G is saying this, like it's everywhere, man. You know, regardless of whether you were raised by like a different parents and all. Talk more, okay, fine. Like it's a Nigerian that was adopted by like a white parent. That one they call you a fulefu.
Otilo.
Otilo.
Of course, we are Asian, and yeah, it just feels incredibly invalidating.
I mean, for me, like, I'm on strongly disagree because I'm a proud Hispanic. Like, I'm Nicaraguense and I'm Honduran, and I'm always gonna be proud of that no matter what. And I get how some people can be like, oh, my race, like, it falls in my bloodline that, like, there's alcoholism, drug addicts, but I'm never gonna let that define my anger or my percentage of how I am or how I represent myself, ever.
Yes, so I would say with my family, like cousins, grandparents, all of that, the conversation of my adoption didn't really start happening until like when Mike Brown was shot. That was kind of the first time that I really felt invalidated by my own family, because I think I was trying to get them to recognize like I'm a Black woman and there are people right now who look like me that are going through very traumatic things, but my family didn't view it that way. I felt very invisible. Yeah, I didn't have anyone to relate to. All my family comes from a really small town in the Midwest, like 95% white, and to the point where like the KKK, it used to be a sundown town, like that kind of thing. And so, yeah, growing up, it just went from, I was just kind of there as Michaela, but not a Black person. It was more of just like, they would always say to me is like, I don't see you as Black. I just,
100%.
Yeah, you know,
and all the time. And I was happy. I was glad.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I'm not gonna like be a victim of racism. Like,
yeah,
yes.
At the time,
One of them.
Exactly, yeah. It never bothered me at the time, but I think the more I processed it, the older I got, I realized how damaging that term is, because I mean, I think we've all experienced this of like, who am I? And so then I was like, okay, if my family doesn't see me as Black, what am I? You know, that was like the question that I still sometimes think today even, that's like always in the back of my head, so, yeah.
100%.
So true.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I was adopted 2 days after I was born in the suburbs of Indianapolis by a single white mother. I met my birth family when I was 18 years old. I found them on Facebook, And it was definitely a whirlwind of emotions. I went from basically just being me to finding out I have 5 siblings and like hundreds of family members that all tried to contact me within the span of 24 hours. So it was a pretty overwhelming experience, and I'm 27 now. But yeah, I'm hoping again to build a relationship with them in the future.
Hi, I'm Chris. I was adopted when I was 4 years old by Polish immigrants. They had just immigrated to America in the early 90s and decided that they wanted children. And due to medical reasons, they were unable to conceive, so they adopted a little Native American baby, which is me.
Nature is stronger than nurture. 3, 2, 1, go.
This one is deep.
I'm even confused with the question.
Nature is stronger than nurture.
So your genetics are stronger than how you were raised.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
This is confusing.
I thought you said it.
You said it correctly. We just.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all the trauma, you know.
So I don't confuse.
Yeah, look left, look
Right,
right.
but
Because I didn't look back.
guy,
You
don't
said
tire.
what options.
I don't know which one we will try again.
No, but nature is actually stronger than.
It just depends how. But nature is nature, man. But nurture.
I have
today.
a quite hypothetical question, though.
Okay.
If, hypothetically speaking, imagine if you could change your outward appearance. Do you think you'd be moved by your genetics? Like, what
do you mean by?
So let's say,
by
for
outward?
example, you're a transracial adopted kid into a Korean family, for example, right?
Okay.
And let's say, hypothetically, you could actually change your physical appearance to actually look Korean.
Okay.
So now you look Korean, like you're not like a black kid in a Korean family home, right? You're actually like a Korean person, but like within you, you're genetically Nigerian, right? Do you think that atmosphere, of that culture of how they brought you up within Korean, you would feel Korean because everybody just assumes you're Korean because you look Korean?
I think, honestly, I do think that nurture is actually stronger than nature. Last.
Yeah.
I think how you are raised is very, very important than like what is in there. If you put now, like I've actually never seen them do this, but if you put a cub, like a lion cub, with dogs, that lion cub would start behaving like dogs over time.
Yeah, definitely.
Over time.
But then that lion, like that, his true nature.
If he does not see other lions,
definitely he
Behave that
will.
kind of way.
I don't think no.
He can't.
If he doesn't.
You can't, because obviously these people are still gonna mix with other people, right?
Yeah, but like what I'm saying, like it depends. Like if you, for
me,
instance,
it's like 50-50 kind of thing.
yeah, I lean more towards 50-50, but I just believe that if you
No, I think I lean more towards nurture, though.
towards I was like,
lean
don't get me
more
wrong,
towards nurture.
like
because the only thing, the major problem with transgender people, like
transracial,
right, is the fact that they just look different than where they're being brought up.
yeah,
That's it. Like if that looks was not there, they would fully submerge and believe that this is how
Definitely.
it's meant to be. This is my life. So
exactly.
there's
So it's
always
just like
something
it's just like
reminding them about that
a Korean adopting like a Korean.
Yeah.
There would almost be
There
no
would
difference.
be
Talk
no
more of okay, like when you now compare it to like a white person adopting like a Korean, like it's different. Like the food is different. Like everything about the culture is different. Language is different. Like every goddamn thing is different. So like I understand that, but I prefer nurture. Nurture is stronger than nature, man. Nurture, like the way you're brought, like, bro. They brought us up eating abacha. If as a kid you had never started eating abacha, I don't know how it's going to taste some people. It tastes bad, especially like correct abacha.
Guy.
There's a particular Igbo soup I love the most. No, onubu. Bitter leaf soup. I love it. Like that's my best soup in this world. That soup, Oscar. You understand? So like if I give you the soup, you might not really appreciate it because you like maybe like the context of the soup, you don't really understand that. Maybe because you're not brought up in the soup. That soup usually give me trauma before. It's recent I just enjoying it.
Yeah, it's like it's
Because I need
it
to
tastes
wash.
harsh.
No, because I need to because I'm the one that will wash the bitter leaf.
So.
So
You
You wash out the seeds or wash out everything from it.
imagine washing bitter leaf. So like it was crazy, man.
Like, why do you agree? Like, out of everybody here, you know?
So I was raised by conservative Christian parents, and I do not look like a conservative Christian whatsoever. Growing up in a very strict no alcohol, no drugs, no gambling, no tattoos, being gay is not okay, marriage is for a man and a woman. Here I am, you know, in a same-sex relationship, covered in tattoos. Both of my biological parents suffered tremendously with their mental health. They were in and out of, you know, mental facilities. I mean, not to be cliche, but 2 out of every 3 Native Americans struggles with addiction. And I did struggle with homelessness and addiction, just like my parents did. I read the Bible cover to cover growing up, and I still made the choices and had the journey that I had.
I'm neutral for the fact that, like, at some point it was nature. Genetically, my dad drank a little bit. My mom, she suffered through mental health. And, you know, I remember being a kid seeing all of that. But I don't let that define me because genetically, like I said, you can stop genetically the nature of what you're surrounding.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm the first person in my biological family to go to college. You know, thank you, just got accepted to a UC.
Yo,
crazy. Thank you. It's never too late to get an education, but you know, like I'm on that path trying to make a better life for myself.
Yeah.
Being a criminologist, nature versus nurture is one of the biggest dilemmas. And after almost 10 years studying, I'm here because I see that environment affects people tremendously.
Exactly.
Whether you're still with your biological parents, whether you're adopted, foster care, it doesn't matter. For example, crime or criminality can be developed by your environment. If you grew up in like white suburbia, white picket fence, a lot of money, or if you grew up in a family where everybody is gang related, has more chance of developing criminality, right? And it's not necessarily who your parents are or your bloodline. So that's why I'm
Who
here.
you surround yourself with.
Yeah. So I met my biological family when I was 18. I went to a family reunion. That was kind of like my first big thing where I like met everyone, like over 100 people. I went by myself. I definitely felt out of place. I was like, these are the people who are my blood and I look like them, but I also felt like a stranger still. And I think that just goes into the identity piece that made it even harder for me because I was like, I finally met my birth family, but these people do not feel like family at all. But also my birth dad, there's things that I see in him, especially like when I'm angry, we act the same. Or like there's things from my birth mom that we just both like she grew up doing that I've noticed that I do as well. So I definitely think there are things that like I've seen from my family that I've noticed in me, but I also still feel like a stranger at the same time.
I feel like also like children, babies, like we mimic a lot.
Yeah.
So like even, I know this is about transracial adoptions, but if you look at just same race adoption, people would be like, you're adopted, but you look so much like your parents. Or
Yes.
They get that all the time. Well, it's because you have the same mannerisms. I have the same mannerisms as my mom. Like, but people won't really seek those out or look for that or notice it because my mom is white and I'm black.
I am very much like my dad and very logical, very emotional like my mother. I've not gotten the chance to meet my birth family yet. I also grew up very, very Christian, very, very conservatively, and I think that did impact me quite a bit. So I think that it's a push and pull for certain things that are nature and versus certain things that are nurture.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's an answer for it, but in terms of transracial adoption, I do want to think about the point of why the question was asked in the first place, which I don't quite understand where the question's coming from.
Blood, yeah, blood versus not blood.
Blood versus water.
There you go.
Oh, well, well, my tangent is a really long tangent, so I
Go
actually,
for it. I'm lost.
Okay. So I totally agree that we have like different brain chemistries. Like I'm predisposed to maybe being a little bit more confident or maybe more happy or whatever it may be. There's neurodiversity. That being said, I don't like this question, and maybe this is what you're getting at. I don't like this question because I think it takes away the responsibility of community, of environment, of society, and of government. And what I mean by that is when we were born in some place and we had no choice to be born, and then when we were displaced and brought up in a completely new environment, there is responsibility for the people closest to us and for the community and the neighborhood to be supporting and championing that person and seeing them not as the ones that are lucky or are grateful, but seeing them as the people that are strong and are resilient and people that we should champion in the society. And that's the responsibility of the people that made a choice that we didn't make as adoptees. Yeah, so I contest this question by saying, who cares about nature versus nurture? Nurture is pretty darn important.
God answered the question. Oh my God.
But I get what he's trying to say still. Like, that's why I said it's a 50-50 thing. Like,
the guy went off on a tangent for you because he was never answering like he was saying something else, man. That they should support you.
No, he was just asking why was the question asked in the first place.
Nigga, you came here to answer questions now.
Was it tied? Like, if he wants to answer it, you answer it right. But he just feels like this question shouldn't be asked. So I mean, that's what he feels. I'm not on that.
When you go for who wants to be a millionaire,
no, this
when he reach question 250K, then why
give you the money first.
This one is from their own personal life experience, right? Yeah. So like, I mean, he feels that question shouldn't be asked.
No, what is a legit question though?
I mean.
More important than nature. I feel like you have to understand the nature in order to correctly nurture. Because if you don't nurture based on nature, you might not like educate them correctly.
Yes, yeah, really well said.
I'm very happy to be celebrating everyone's differences today. Here,
guys, that's it. You guys' thoughts? Are you going to be adopting? Do you think you're going to adopt at all? Oscar?
I mean, God.
Say what?
God said I should adopt.
Okay. I honestly don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, if it happens, it happens. How about you say cheese?
Same here. I'm on that same page.
If your wife says cheese, like we have to adopt black, Indian, Mexican.
Wait, that's a lot of financial responsibility though.
That's
God will provide.
Mixture of a lot.
Yes, now.
I mean, by God's grace, I would like to have mine, but if it happens,
Abi.
Who am I?
You're nothing but a pencil in the hands of the
creator.
Yeah, man. Guys, let us know what you think about the video. You know, so many people out there are adopted and then they've turned out wonderful.
Yeah.
So many people, biological kids as well, did not turn out as wonderful as, you know.
Fact.
As adoptees, you know. So I think that it's a balance between, you know, adoptees and, you know, biological kids. Anybody can turn out to be bad. Anybody can turn out to be good. It depends. There's this story that somebody keeps on telling me that a man who was a man who had drinking issues had 2 sons, and then his 2 sons turned out differently. You know, one turned out to be a drinker, and then the other one turned out to be really, really good. And then they asked, you know, both of them, like, who influenced you? And then both of them say their father. You understand? So the environment that people find themselves influences them. We can never take that out, you know, out and take the away from them.
But then it still boils down to you, you know.
Exactly.
Still boils down.
Your future is in your hands.
Literally, man.
Guys, thank you very much. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Last words.
Take care of yourself.
Like, subscribe, share. Boom.
Have a good one.